Good afternoon. Welcome back to the B&H Event Space. Today we are going beyond the diamond, talking baseball in Cuba today. And for that, I'd like to welcome two iconic photographers for a wonderful conversation today. Of course, a huge thank you to Sony, but Ira Block, Jean Fruth, welcome.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for doing this. I'm excited.
It's great being here.
It's great to have you guys on. Look, this idea spurned. We were talking with Jean a while back, and it was like, let's just get both you guys on and talk about baseball. Let's do something dressed down, easy, fun, loose. You guys both have documented baseball around the globe, but particularly Cuba is going to be the main topic today. So we will dive into that. But before we do, we're going to start off with a little video clip here that Ira put together and sent over to kind of set the tone for today. You were trying to get us to cut that end piece off, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right. You'd see my slow hands. I'm not exactly on the 25-man roster at this moment.
If I would have planned better, we would have pulled that up in slow-mo, and Gene and I would have sat here and critiqued your swing.
I kind of want to go back to it.
It's off limits now.
Oh, but you know what? That video makes me cry. I want to go back right now, Ira. That's beautiful.
It's a little warm now. It was just compilation way back when I did this. Your book is a bit more recent than mine, but it's probably everything's the same. Nothing much has changed.
Everything's the same. I'm just seeing all those moments, thinking about how special being there, documenting, just all of that. Like we were, of course, always in all those same places, but at different times. Who knows? Maybe at the same time, didn't know it.
We would have known. Yeah.
How beautiful.
Actually, we crossed. I think we just missed each other by a day or two last year or some point.
That's right. I was going to Vinales for the first time. You've probably gone for the 100th time. And we were almost there at the same time. And everything, for me was baseball centric when I was shooting there all over the island, because it was always lots of projects. And but Vinales was a place that I didn't get to go to. I shot a lot of music, but I always wanted to do the tobacco region. I shot Pinar del Rio, of course, but never there. And that was really special for me for the first time to go to a tobacco farm and document that. And the tobacco farmers, they're like some of the poorest guys in the country, but yet the happiest.
Yeah, they're totally cool. I love them. And you get to meet the guy, get a couple of shots of rum, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I had to skip the rum because the shooting and the rum for me doesn't go well together. I don't multitask in that way very well.
You need training, that's all.
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I can't do it. I try to keep the activities separate, one and then the other. But I did take the rum back and have some after. So
How long did you guys document Cuba or visit Cuba? How many times or over the span of what length of time before baseball became the predominant reason to go down there?
Well, I started pretty early. I started my first stories from Nat Geo in 1998 and been going back and forth since then. I was there. So that's like 25 years already. I've been going back and forth.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, for me, it's less. It's like 10 years I've been, going there. My first trip was with a photographer, a very good photographer who shoots a lot of music there. And I wanted to shoot baseball. And I reached out to him and said, hey, can you give me a little bit of guidance? I want to go to Cuba and shoot baseball. And he said, well, we're going in 3 weeks or whatever, if you want to go. And he was going with another photographer from Germany. And I just jumped on and said yes. And it was great because I had this tour guide of a guy who's been going down there, going there since for the last 30 years. And as Ira can tell you, you make your connections and your friends and people. So the trips become really special. Now, when I go back, like I think everybody who does this like this has like their Cuba almost, where, I mean, when I look at Ira's photos of the ballerina, the dancers, like what is Cuba to you? Like Cuba to Ira is baseball and the dancers and the tobacco and rum, but people have their spots and the people that they connect to. It really is you connect with people, you make friends that are very special. It's just the memories that I have there is not like no other trips that I take.
Yeah, it is. It is a super special place and the finest people I've been around. They're so happy, and most of them are not living the, how should I say, luxury life, but they're happy with what they have. They make the best use of it, and they love baseball. It's a religion there, and they're able to build their whole social life and everything around baseball. And that's what drew me to doing my book there a number of years ago. Even I'd been to Cuba many trips, and it finally dawned on me, kicked me in the face, that how important baseball was beyond just being a sport, but being a way of life.
Mm. When did you guys, I mean, you guys obviously have both documented the same thing, but when did it get on the radar? Like, Jean, were you looking, were you aware of Ira's work? Ira, did you see when Jean was documenting down there? I mean, was there an overlap, or was there kind of like an exchanging of information or thoughts and ideas?
I don't know how I mean, I knew of Ira's work for sure. And I have his book, but I don't have it signed by you, Ira.
Ooh,
I gotta
Oh,
bring
well,
it to New
that's
York.
bring it to condo.
Can
I
I?
have your
Okay.
book. I don't think no, I may have yours signed.
Yeah, I want to bring it if you wouldn't mind signing it. I love that book. It's yeah, it's so special. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been there. And one thing that I like that you did that's a beautiful photo, which is not baseball. The baseball book, you did these portraits, and I think you might have them as part of what we have here. I don't know.
yeah, there's definitely
Eric,
some
if
mixed
any,
in.
yeah, and were those taken near Matanzas, what's the stadium? Um, the oldest
uh,
baseball stadium. I feel like it might have been taken there. Where did you take those portraits? Can you tell me about those portraits a little bit? I don't know if you can bring them up on the screen.
Yeah, Fred, let's
yeah,
see if
they
we could
come
jump
up
ahead to
eventually.
those.
Oh, they will. Okay. That's great.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we'll jump through, and we
Let's
could
jump
always
through.
bounce
Let's find
around.
it. Yeah, because they're really cool. We can go back. See
Yeah,
how
while we're getting there, I think one of the cool things is as I was going through the images,
Yeah,
I
here
can't.
they are.
There they are.
There's one of them. Yeah, that was not a professional stadium. That was in a small stadium outside of Havana, and it was my last day. I was going home, and it was also finally, and Gene, you'll relate to this, the end of the project. The hardest thing when you're doing a big project is, when do you stop? Because there's always something more. And I had heard about this old guys league. So I figured I'd shoot the old guys. But when I got there, I saw that the old guys they didn't, out in the field, except for the fact that when they slid into a base, they couldn't get up for a little while. But but it was the fact that they still had their uniforms and their look. And I said, screw that action. I'm just going to go right to the heart of it. And I found a nice background. I had a strobe with me, and I just set up a little studio, and we just, in between innings, I grabbed someone 2 or 3 seconds next. So it was just, a coincidence that all happened.
Yeah, I just really made the book, special. And you're right, like you're working on a project, and also you're trying to have different things. A book, you want to turn the page and see something that you haven't seen. But oh yeah, there's another one. See, these guys, their faces are so
Yeah.
good. I mean, look at that. I just
Well,
think that's a special part of the book, these portraits that you did.
well, and what's so bizarre is that I probably did all these portraits in less than an hour, and it filled up a lot of pages. And you know that, Gene, how, you never know what to expect is going to happen. All your plans either go great, don't go well, but you can't make plans, especially in Cuba. Things happen, and you get goals sometimes where you didn't expect it. Like like your stuff on the women, the girls playing. Did that inspire you to your women's project, or was that on the table already?
No, it wasn't. I was at the end of my Route 66 project and looking at the PDF, trying to put the book together. And I said, gosh, there's just not a lot of girls in this book. There's a girl on this team, on the boys' team. And I really want to have more girls or women in this book. And we were still in COVID time, so it was really tricky. And I reached out to an organization that has all girls teams, and asked if they had any girls playing along Route 66, which is pretty demanding during COVID, asking for a very specific location. And there was a game in Santa Monica, and it was the first time I ever shot all girls baseball. And it was definitely, it was the inspiration for the new project. And so being able to now shoot all girls baseball. And your portrait story, I had a similar one. It doesn't have to be a big setup, or even, like you say, a plan. A plan can be replaced with a different plan. Like in the Dominican Republic, I was shooting actually with Maria at B&H, and just grabbed a 50 before the game. Quick portraits, but the light was beautiful. I mean, it was just beautiful. All these beautiful faces and sun, and it ended up being like a nice spread of portraits in my new book. That's, and it was quick, just a 50 mm, walking around, taking pictures of these beautiful faces, and it makes something special and something different for your project.
Yeah, well, you must have, on this picture I'm looking, you must have been shooting the high rent district, because these girls have some serious equipment.
Yeah,
They've got,
these ladies are part of the Cuba national team. The cool thing about the women's
Wow.
baseball is that they do have they have a federation. They have a Cuban national team that travels and plays baseball. And it's in a place where maybe women's rights are not, first and foremost. It's great to see that women's sports in Cuba is getting attention and is supported. Maybe not to the level that, they'd want it to be, but it's there, and a high level of play. So it's fun to see women playing, and I got to see them. They traveled to Japan and they played in Japan, and they made it to the semifinals of the World Cup, women's baseball in Cuba. So
wow.
I wish they would have made it to the finals, but to be one of 12 teams left, was pretty big for them.
How does it compare to the women's baseball culture here? I mean, I know it's still, we have softball here. I was listening to one of the female broadcasters for the Little League World Series, and she's a very well known women's softball player. But she was talking, when she was growing up, that's all you had. You had softball, and now you have these girls that can play a little league, and they can just keep going and going because you have more. But is it at the level that it is down in the Caribbean, or is it?
I think it's because, we have softball here in the United States. Yeah, baseball isn't, as supported as softball is. There's not the pipeline that softball has in the United States, but it's certainly growing and gaining in popularity, and more girls are playing and they're staying in the game longer. So there's all girls teams now that are playing, and it's being recognized now more than it has been. And of course, the USA has a women's team, and a very strong one, probably the strongest team that they've ever had. And they did make it to the finals, and they ended up winning a silver medal in this year's World Cup. But there's other countries that have, bigger pipelines, but Cuba, like Ira said, baseball is life. So for the women too, they take it seriously and they play at a high level. And a lot of provinces in Cuba have all women's teams. Her name is Libya Duarte. She's a first baseman, and she's a hell of a baseball player.
I love how you just pull like the names. Last time we spoke, Gene, it was like the same thing. I mean, you had Vlad's cousin, of course, that's probably easy to remember, but I mean, there's a connection here. I think one of the interesting things for me is as I'm going through the images, you guys each have your own style. When you started out, Gene, saying everybody has their own idea of Cuba, it's like it totally stuck out in my head because I'm looking through the images and I'm like, on one hand, if I were to just mix these all together, which we did, man, I wish I could have my pictures thrown in with Jean Fruth and Ira Block, and one looks like the next. It's like you can't really tell, oh, this one's this person, this one's this person. But at the same time, you guys each have your own stamp, and you can tell that, Jean, you focused on certain aspects that more than Ira might have, and Ira might have focused on more things than you might have. And I think that's an interesting dynamic to go in, is the approach that you guys took to baseball. A lot of people that you documented, Gene, were in the stands, which I think is cool. And there's, maybe more action shots in the images that you sent. And Ira, the way that you captured things. And, I noticed in the video, you had the whole pro photo set up. And I'm like, okay, he's got the lighting out. I'm like, Gene, if I remember correctly, a lot of yours is just natural light, working, on the fly. So can you guys each talk about your approach and maybe things that you noticed about Ira's process, Gene, or Ira, things you noticed about Gene's approach?
Well,
All
I
right.
can tell you when I follow, Ira, of course, on Instagram, and I'm going through my feed, when a photo comes up of Ira's, before I even look at Ira's name, I know it's his photo. And I think that's really cool. Like, it's like, oh, and it's exciting to see. I mean, and of course, he travels so much. It's like, wait a minute, he was just in Cuba. How is he here now? And I don't even know how you do it, Ira. He's always somewhere, but the travel, I mean, the images are just beautiful, and they're certainly Ira Block images. So I think that's to me, I look at it and say, oh, I want to make something like that. Like, I'll go back to Cuba next time and see something that he did and say, oh, I'd like to try to make a picture like that in my own way.
The witness protection program helps me a lot. So that's why you never know where I am. But yeah, when I did the book, my thought was I wanted to do things that were happy, bright, colorful. The world, could be a dark place at times. And these were people that didn't, live so well, but they still are happy. And so whenever possible, I tried to light things, not action, and this was a funny story. We were driving somewhere out east, and I saw these guys playing on the street, or the road, really. It's very rural. And I stopped the car and I yelled to my assistant, get the lights out. I ran out and I just started shooting. And by the time any lights came, the dog was gone. The guy in the background on the horse was gone. So the moment had left. But I did just try to pump in light occasionally just to give a brighter sort of color whenever possible. And yeah, you're shooting a lot of action, and action, you've got to just rely on the natural light. But Gene, your light in Cuba is so gorgeous that you could take great advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, the light is so, and of course the colors. I mean, to me, like if you're a baseball player and you're in a slump, right, you have to do something. If you're a photographer and you're in a slump, go to Cuba. Like, because
Yeah.
you're gonna make pictures, you know? It's a slump buster. Like it's what it is, right? If you can't make a picture in Cuba, I mean the colors, there's pictures everywhere. There's baseball everywhere, but if baseball's not your jam, there's something else for you. Just the architecture, right? Just the signs, the political propaganda, you know, and all, I mean, just everything, the music, whatever it is, the people. I mean, it's just, look at that. I mean, talking about light. Like that's just, I mean, and
Incredible.
that's that light. So yeah, when I'm there, of course, I'm waiting for that pretty light. I'm going to games purposely. I'm not going to a game that's at 12 o'clock. I'm going to a game that's at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And that's when we're out, right? We're eating lunch at 12, but we're going out at along the Malecon, which I know you spent a lot of time at, and you know, looking at all of those beautiful, I mean, look at that picture. Look at the light and the faces. Yeah, if you can't make a picture in Cuba, I don't know.
Yeah, that all you got to do is get up early in the morning.
What's the frequency of games? I mean, if you were trying to document baseball over here, it's like, okay, you got to get the right season. You got to go to the right place. It's like you might get one game a week. Is it just all the time? I mean, it's easy to look at these images and be like, wow, it's baseball 24 hours a day. How is it really on the ground there?
Yeah, I mean, when you go out, if you're looking for street ball, like Ira says, I mean, you're going out in the late afternoons. Look, I mean, these shadows are just so terrific with the
Crazy.
up position from whatever building or terrace he was on, or however. I mean, incredible picture with those long shadows. And the kids are out from school in the afternoon and they're out playing baseball somewhere. You know, you wander the streets, you are going to find baseball, not only in Havana, but in all the small towns, wherever you're going. And I really encourage people also to go outside of Havana. Havana's great, but I mean, Ira knows because he's been all over the island. There's so many amazing towns and provinces to go visit that have baseball and just the architecture. And I mean, look at the tiles, the
Yeah.
the
Well,
doors.
this was a really funny story because when I don't know if you ran across this, Gene, but a lot of times if you find kids playing baseball and the light's not right, and you ask them, well, could I you me playing later or tomorrow? They go, yeah, and I'll be here at 6 o'clock. They're never there. You got to shoot them when you find them because they're always moving. But I found these kids, the light was great. I was shooting from ground level, and I knew I needed to get upstairs somewhere. And I just walked into a building, knocked on someone's door on the second floor, and somehow asked them if I could go out there at a little balcony. And I went on the balcony, and of course, like everywhere in Cuba, laundry was hanging every place. So I had to sort of push aside all the laundry to lean over to get the shot. But people are great there. They're nice. They let me in their house. They offered me something to drink, but I said no, I had to, get the photo. But it's always, you've got to seize the moment. And that's usually everything in photography, but even more so in Cuba.
And I mean, it's a great story. Would you mind going back for one more second? Because also kudos to you, Ira. Like, you know, there's a difference between a good photo and a great photo. I mean, besides the shadow and the composition and everything else, but the ball in the shadow as opposed to the sun so we could see it. I mean, come on
And then
now.
the shadow of the ball, I know that was
I
pure
mean,
luck.
like, I mean, that's the difference, right? And it's, if it was before or after, it's a question, right, of millimeters of where everything is and all of just the structure and, the geometry of a picture like this. It's art. It's just
Everything's
just a
lined up.
stunning
There's
picture.
nothing that overlaps that should not overlap. Well, in the perfect world. I mean, I don't most people take this image and something's overlap. The bat overlaps the shadow, or the person, the kid's head cuts into the shadow, and you lose that definition. Everything is perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, Gene, you just shoot a lot, and then you're trying to get something, but you can't time when that ball's being thrown or hit. And so a lot of it comes in your editing, or your selection, I should say, afterwards, looking through your photos and picking the right one and the best one.
Yeah, it's really true. And that's a skill that we need as photographers. And it's, just as important, right, as what we're shooting, is knowing what a good picture is and how to edit and make your selections. Really a good point.
Now, and I've noticed in conversations with you guys, Vinales always comes up. What is? I mean, in Gene, whenever we say Vinales, it's like it brings you guys such joy. What can that be compared to? I want to know what is it like for someone who's never been down there? What is it about Vinales?
Gene, what would you compare it to here
Well,
in
I mean,
what's
it's a special region, right? Like if you were in California and you were going to wine country, like it's a region like that, right? It's a region known for, of course, Cuba is known for cigars and some of the best cigars in the world. And the tobacco growers, it's a special place because of that. There's a photo that I have. The team that's in Vinales in that province is called Pinar del Rio. And the name, it's Pinar del Rio is the name of the area, and it's the name of the team, but they're also called the Vigueras, and excuse me for the lousy Spanish, but it means, cigars, and they cheer, and you'll see I put one in there. They cheer with tobacco leaves in the stands. So they're holding up
Awesome.
tobacco leaves. So I included that one, and you'll see it somewhere when you're scrolling, but so it's a special region for that. So someone who's going to see it, of course, it's not fancy like wine country, but oh, there's a vendor at Industrialis, a different way to get your coffee than maybe how they serve it at Yankee Stadium. But
There's
it's
no
a
by
beer
the
here
way, Derek,
calls.
they don't serve beer in any of the stadiums.
Really?
No, they
no alcohol.
no alcohol. They
Wow.
probably had some issues at some point in the past, is
It's
what
like the
I'm
old Yankee
guessing.
Stadium bleachers.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. So coffee, is that like the main, like what's the, and I didn't even think to ask this until you guys went there. What do you, I mean, we all think Cracker Jacks at a Major League Baseball game and popcorn and hot dogs and all that, but what's like the main fare that they're serving there?
Usually the vendors are outside the stadium, and it's individual people who are setting up like a booth or setting up like a stand, and they're making something from their homes, and maybe it's a pig that they roasted and they're slicing it right there, and people are going to eat pork, or they're making a special drink, or they have some sort of food. But lots of times it's just vendors outside and you're bringing it in. And then there'll be some vendors selling small things in the bigger stadiums in the bigger cities, but the smaller stadiums or the more remote country area stadiums is the vendors are just people outside. And this vendor, that's what he has, coffee in a little plastic cup, and there's no to go anything. So having those cups is you just don't have those kind of supplies.
Yeah, they do have money, which are peanuts, and it's funny, they come in those white paper that's wrapped, looks like a cone. They know how to fold that paper perfectly and load it up with the peanuts. And I can't recall if there's popcorn, Gene.
No, I don't think popcorn. I think the peanuts. I think you're right. And then sometimes the ice vendors are outside too. Those are cool, where it's almost like a shaved ice
Oh yeah.
situation with syrup. Um, which yeah, I love. But yeah, the vendors, and you know, even though there's no alcohol, you know, the stadium is filled every game. There's the tobacco leaves.
Oh
Um,
yeah, great.
I
Wow.
didn't even when I went through that image, it didn't even stick out that those are tobacco leaves. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Pinar del Rio, I mean, they're serious about their baseball, but it doesn't need to be a playoff game to be the stadium filled with every game, you know, and they don't need alcohol to be partying and cheering and having a great time. And you see, now you see a little bit more, but I mean, there's so many games I go to and I look at my crowd shots and there's not one cell phone. You know, when you try to shoot at Yankee Stadium or the San Francisco Giants,
Yeah.
everybody like, you know, with their phone, you know, ruining the photos, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's
everyone. Yeah.
yeah, everybody's on their phone doing something else, not here. They're living the moment. And I know Ira's seen plenty of this, right? The playing homemade instruments and bringing music to the stands, and I mean, two spoons, and I don't even know what that is that he made, but and the music's incredible.
I think these are some of my favorite images out of everything. You know, I told you this last time when we spoke, Gene, is the crowd shots. You don't see this anymore. It's like, especially I'm going to a game tomorrow. You guys are just already killed my game experience because I'm gonna get to go sit and it's like people don't stand up, they don't cheer, they don't yell. You maybe get the one loud drunk guy, but there's not that fire and that passion for the sport in the stands like you can see in these images.
It's fiery. It really is fiery. I mean, just the love of baseball and the way, I mean, the baseball is played the same at Yankee Stadium as it is, or it's the same game, same rules, but it definitely looks different, sounds different, feels different, you know, Cuba versus Yankee Stadium versus Japan. It makes it interesting is the culture of it. And it doesn't get more cultural than Cuba.
I love
That's
these.
great. The guy coming out of the yeah, that's like Fenway Park, right? They still
Oh, it's great. I was so pleased when I saw him pop out of there to watch the game. I watched the numbers going up. I was like, I got to get a shot of that. But then when he came out, and how nice of him to wear yellow for me.
Oh yeah, perfect. You sure you didn't
Perfect.
bring that shirt along,
Yeah,
Gene?
yeah, hey, put this on.
She's stacking the deck.
Well, it's funny because you have this scoreboard shot, and then Derek, the next one is my scoreboard shot, which is a little different, and we both have a person involved. Uh, I was shooting a group shot of a women's team in front of the scoreboard with a big strobe setup, and the oh there, yeah, I was doing this shot, had a strobe set up, and the women left, and we were starting to pack up and going back to the other shot. You'll, I noticed this kid sitting there watching, and so I grabbed this shot, which to me was a lot better than the group shot, but it's the same thing, you know. It's that the look of that scoreboard and your scoreboard and the one person that gives it that contrast. I should have borrowed your yellow shirt though.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Ira, I'm
I
surprised
like
you
him in
didn't
the
yell at
blue. I
him.
think that he's looking pretty good. Yeah,
Yell
no,
at him, tell him to get in the scoreboard. No, it's so simple. You know, I was laughing. I was telling you guys before we went live. I'm like, you couldn't have picked a better selection without you guys didn't even coordinate this. But it just shows like you guys are on that same wavelength and capturing the same things, and you're sending similar photos and similar photo ops that just everything lined up so serendipitously.
and yeah, and what Ira was saying is you can have the best plan in the world. Okay, he's planning to shoot the women, he's doing the group shot, he has the strobes, everything ready. But then when you're prepared like that, you're also prepared for the unexpected. And then something comes along that you know, you capture and you say, wow, that's better than I could have ever planned, or, you know, just what else is going on around you and being aware of your environment.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of the I remember when I was a younger man at starting at the Nat Geo, one of the older guys, which would have been me now, of course, said to me, when you're finished with your shoot, always keep one camera out. Don't pack everything up because you never know what's going to happen. And I've listened to that advice forever.
Yeah, that is really good advice. Yeah. Otherwise you're scrambling and saying, oh no, oh no.
Yeah.
So
You
now I
don't,
gotta ask, what's the go-to setup, and what's that last camera? Is there a particular setup that you have that's gonna be that last just in case camera?
well, I always sort of, I would say 90% of my images, unless it's a special situation, or if, like Jean's shooting action, she needs the longer lenses, but pretty much I get 90% of the images with 24 to 70, 24 to 105. I love the Sony A1. That's just a fantastic camera. And Jean, I always wonder, like, how could they ever improve on it? And somehow they come out with new cameras that are even more fantastic.
Yeah, it's true. But the Sony A1, I agree. That camera, and for the 24 to 105 is my one lens that I'll keep out. That the Ira, I'll keep one camera, one lens out. That one's the one for me. If I'm walking to dinner or I'm just scouting, I'm not planning on shooting, but I have that camera. It's the 24 to 105 because of the range, and you can walk around with it. The lens is not too heavy, and I think that's just a great one for having one camera, one lens. For just wandering around, of course, not necessarily for sports, but the A1 for me, with especially places like Cuba, and maybe you can't get as close to the action as you want, or you're not bringing a 400 lens in, that can cause some problems. So I did get brave, but the 300 is pretty cool addition to bring, because now I'm bringing a telephoto. I mean, the biggest I've ever brought was a 70 to 200 to Cuba, and so then bringing the 300 this last time was just I was able to make images I wasn't able to make before. But with the A1, that I'm also able to crop in significantly and still have a very big file for, the book I'm making or for whatever uses. And so that combination of the 300 and the A1 is, I don't know how you improve on that. I don't
Yeah,
think.
and that 300 to 8 is totally incredible because it's so light. I remember when I got mine and the package showed up, and I picked up the box, and I was thinking, wait a second, did they forget to put the lens in? Because the box, the brown box was so light, and I go, whoa. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great with and that's the kind of nice bokeh you get in the background. It's beautiful.
How much
Yeah.
do you guys shoot telephoto versus? I mean, is the telephoto really more for just the action and maybe some portraits?
Yeah, I mean, you can walk. I mean, the 70 to 200, you could shoot everything with. If I was going to a game and they said you can't bring anything but one lens, it's going to be the 70 to 200, and I can shoot a whole game with that lens. I mean, yeah, if there's a catch in the outfield, that's a little tough, but for really everything else, portraits in the stands, portraits before the game, shooting game action, everything in the infield game action, that, wide if I want to show a sense of place, tight tight if I want to just hone in on the action and make it impactful. That lens is the workhorse.
Well, that's a great image, man. The expression on her face, and you could see, I love it when you see the shallow depth of field, that one stretch of grass that she's in, Jean, and you just sort of, that autofocus just nails it so often.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything.
and that was hand
Laces.
holding. That was hand holding the 300. And for me, my size, and as time goes on, things get a little harder, as you said. But not needing a monopod and being able to be low to the ground or put it on. I mean, it's just, who'd think you can hand hold a 300? That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, look at the detail, like the vein in the neck, the expression on the face. Like this is the stuff that really makes it real. Beautiful here. What's the go-to? How many setups are you guys carrying both? Carrying two bodies, lens on each? Do you do more of like a stacked setup, like a 24 to 70 and then a 70 to 200? Or
What do you do, Ira? Do you want me to?
You know, if I'm really working something, I'll have two bodies, 24 to 70, 70 to 200. If it's a certain kind of situation, the wide lens may be the 16-35. But when I'm just sort of walking around and I don't want to be too obvious and have two bodies around my neck, that's when I'll just keep 24-70 around my neck and try to get more moments. I I like my portraits to be wide, a wider lens, so you can include the person's environment and see what they're doing and what they have. So I don't necessarily go in for the super tight portrait unless it's an amazing face.
Mm.
Look
What
at that.
constitutes an amazing face? Is it the expression, or is there just something?
It's just, Gene, it's you look at somebody and it just feels right. I guess that's
You
Interesting.
just
like the
know,
guy
right?
with the cigar. We just
Yeah, that's a face. Look at that guy. Let's bring that
Yeah,
cigar
let's
the
guy.
go to
guy
the
with the
cigar.
cigar. I was
That's a face.
There. He is.
There, I
I
mean,
was
that's
outside of the Tropicana Stadium in Havana, and I was just looking to get crowd shots, and I had my assistant carrying the strobe on a pole, and I'm looking at this guy, and he turns towards me. He's obviously has no teeth. You could see the way he's got the cigar in his mouth, and it just was boom, one shot. And the other nice thing about using the strobe is getting the catch light in the eye. I
Mm.
love getting catch lights in eyes. It really draws you into the person.
yeah, that's just great. But it's all about the connection you make too. I mean, it's beautiful, but you connected so fast with him. I mean, you don't make a portrait like that without a connection.
There's
And
yeah, and that's one of the things when people ask me, how do you shoot other people, strangers? There's something that just happens. There's body language, connection, 50 years of being a photographer, 50 years in F8, whatever you want to call it. Just you just know how to approach people, and the signals you put out.
Even your micro composition here, like I'm looking at it and it's like the brim of the hat fits right in between the two windows in the background. And just, it doesn't overlap with the guy behind him in the pink with the white hat. Just the little things. The hand doesn't overlap with the girl in front. It's all the
Yeah,
little
well,
things like that that I think really, I mean, just the angle, him looking over. If this were like a head-on portrait, I don't think it has the same effect, with his cheek sunken in. I mean, you could just sit here and just pick out little details and
a lot of it's luck. But you make your luck is in photography, that's for sure. You just know when the situations are right, and you just go into it, like you dive in full steam ahead.
Mhm. What's
yeah.
something down there in the baseball culture that you guys didn't see or don't see up here? Is there one thing that stands out that just really makes Cuba different than the rest of the world?
I mean, for sure, I think the cell phones and people being in the moment, I think when people are at a baseball game, they're at a baseball game. I really think, so much of our culture and many cultures are just, we're busy and we're distracted and you've got all these things going on. I feel like the Cuban people know how to be present. Like they're just all in, you just don't see people on cell phone. This is an interesting picture because this is when the Cuba national team played the Tampa Bay Rays in Cuba, and President Obama was there with Michelle, and Fidel was sick. He didn't pass yet, but so Raul was running. So Raul Castro sitting next to Obama. But the interesting thing about this game was, for me, like I've shot, quite a few baseball games in Cuba. This one was not like the exciting, cheering, real Cuba games where people are dancing and play. It was very quiet. It was in some ways kind of a disappointment because, home runs hit, and I was like, what's happening? And it was a different group of people because there was by invitation only. I don't know who was not, but I can tell you it wasn't the people. It wasn't the baseball fans that were there. I don't know who they were, but they were not the real fans. Like there was one person maybe, but there was nothing happening. I mean, and as exciting as it was to document it, because it was historical and it was, so it was a big deal, and grateful to be there. But when everybody went home and then I got to wander and go to what I call real baseball games, I was like, oh, thank gosh. Like now we're back, and it was playoff time, and then the atmosphere was there. This game was it was great because it was special, but very different than your typical game.
And that comes right off the tail end of you just saying what makes Cuba so different is that flair and that everybody being so into it. It's like you watch a game here, we talked about it earlier, and it's so much more corporate now, where you almost need a paycheck to get into a game, and if you want to eat, that's another paycheck, and God forbid you want to get a tall boy a beer.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost like that's when you go to the big events, right? You go to the Super Bowl, and you go to, when your Yankees, make the World Series. Like
When is that, Jean, by the way? When are they making
that's gonna happen in
Derek,
October for
Derek
you
and
guys. I'm
Let's
sorry.
let's
do
go.
you know that Derek and I meet up at Yankee stadiums? We were at a lot of the same games together, and we sort of connect
take
there and
selfies.
commiserate.
We could
Commiserate, you're such a Yankee fan. You're in first place right now, okay?
I don't know how.
I don't know
It's a
how.
miracle.
we only care about
Yankee
World
fans
Series.
commiserate when they're in first place.
Well, we have to thank the Mets for beating Baltimore last night. That helped us.
Yes,
It
definitely.
did. Yeah.
As long as they don't steal Soto from us, I think,
Oh,
right now we got the Mets are competition right now for the record-breaking contract. So
Oh yeah, there's going to be
it's
some
World
big
Series
money.
or nothing. Nothing matters during the year.
Yeah.
We need a World Series or else we're not happy.
Wow, I love that low angle with these kids, Gene. That's great.
Oh, it's so fun, right? To put your camera on the ground. And I know you experienced this, Ira, but one of the fun things and also distracting things is when you just show up to a place and they first see you, they're so excited. I mean, this game just gets totally, thrown because everybody just is coming right at me, and wants to be in my camera. And it's also the fun of it, right? They're so excited to see you. Who is this Martian that just landed on my field? And they come, running at you, and what a great, moment. And then you have to give them a chance to get to know you or relax. Sometimes I even put my camera away and let them go back to the game so that I could capture, the real action without them hamming it up for the camera. But they're kids or even adults, they need their moment, where they want to work it for the camera. So that's a fun picture too, a different picture. And then hopefully they go back to just being them.
I love seeing how advanced the youth are down there. It's like the one image we showed earlier of the Pinar del Rio Stadium, and the kid's got his knee. I'm like, the kid looks like he's like 3 or 4 years old, and I'm still trying to teach my 7-year-old.
Oh, that kid.
He's got like his knee up, like he's coming out of the stretch, and he's got such great form. I'm like, it looks like an old, like, remember Dave Rigetti had that high leg kick? It's
Well,
like,
this kid,
look at this.
and this kid could name every player on the team. He was a fanatic, and this is another strobe shot. And the first shot I used that I think this was not in my book, I discovered this later. It was a wider shot with him and his father. And then I just found this image with the dad's legs. And it just, I thought, wow, this does a better job of looking at this kid and the dad and the connection.
It really does.
Yeah.
I bet Cashman already has his phone number.
Yeah, yeah.
He's already signed. I'm getting ready. I'm like about to call my son over here and be like, you know how I'm trying to teach it. He's entering his first year where they have the kid pitch. And
But
you
it
would
really
think
Oh, kid pitch, yeah.
kid pitch, and it's like trying to teach a kid, like you think it's like easy, like, hey, here's a wind up and here's the stretch. And no. And then we come across this picture and I'm like, all right, I need this guy's phone number because I need to find out what he got. His kid's got great form and he's like 4 years old.
Yeah, it was
Love the
amazing.
dad. I love the dad's legs in it. I agree, Ira. It really makes the picture. It tells the story, right? We don't need a caption for this.
Yeah, yeah, just yeah, and that's the thing. In Cuba, I was looking to do this picture. I never was able to get it, but supposedly when you have a son, just after the birth, somebody presents that kid or the father with a baseball glove or a baseball. And I never was able to get that, but it's part of the tradition. And it's the same way in the US. It's just more intense in Cuba. If you're a kid, whatever is your dad's team is your team. You grow up, if your dad's a Minnesota Twins fan, you're going to be a Twins fan, even if you move to California. But in Cuba, it's much more intense. The father-son baseball relationship is an incredible bond.
Oh, terrific.
Mm.
So good.
So what's on the horizon for you guys? Is it something is this going to be an ongoing thing? I know, Gene, you've really gone full steam into the women in baseball, which I think is such an awesome project. We touched on it again earlier. When do you know a project's finished? I mean, this all seems like way more passion than project for both of you. So what does the future hold?
For me, the women's project, we're at the intense editing stage. So that's going to be a while, but it's coming along so well. But my plan is certainly to go back to Cuba and to continue shooting there and making more pictures. And I really think, like, when you see Ira's book, and you just see Ira's pictures on Instagram now, you don't, you see them, but it does inspire you to want to go back, to make something else, to make something different. Like, that is what's so great about social media, is that you see things and say, wow, yeah, I want to go do that. I want to make something like that. And the book is even more special because when you see something in print, you could take your time with it. You could see that portrait in the Instagram, but when you see, look at that
Well,
cover.
it's funny how Gene's cover and mine cover are different, but sort of the same. They both just say Cuba, and the kids' footwear on my cover and Gene's cover. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Sigfredo
And
Barros, your forward, I remember having a great conversation with him sitting in the park in Havana. A special
yeah,
man.
and Gene, your film is coming out on during the World Series.
Yeah, so See Her, Be Her is going to be aired between games 2 and 3 of the World Series on the MLB Network. So super
That's
excited
awesome.
to showcase the women.
Now, are
That's
you finished?
awesome.
You still editing it, or are you
Oh,
finished?
we're editing.
You're still
Right before I came on, that's why I came on the very last minute with this, and now I'll go back, and editing film is a beast.
Oh
Video,
God, yeah, no,
oh my
yeah. It
gosh.
makes still photography look like a walk in the park. It's
Yeah.
just,
I'm doing a book with the project. It's like the book feels so easy now, Ira.
yeah, yeah,
Like, oh, that's no problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just spent weeks working on just a 3-minute short for a commercial client, and it just is endless.
Oh, it is.
And that's 3 minutes, right? That's
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
It's, it's a lot. It's fun. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's a learning process. We're always learning. I'm learning so much with this project and working with gear I never worked with, so many things that I've done as a first. And it's just been terrific. But I got to say, Ira, thank you for doing this with me. Like talking about Cuba with you, like to me, you're the master. Like I've seen your pictures for so many years. I love your book. I am bringing it to Condo because I do want it signed now.
I could bring you a new copy. I've got
Oh,
a few in my storage facility, so you could sell the old one, help pay for your film project.
I gotta sell the, yeah.
Yeah, but I go back to Cuba 2 times a year, sometimes 3, but I'm not doing so much on baseball now. But if I find it, I shoot it. That's
Sure.
for sure. But I'm, doing other things, and I just like the people, and I like the feeling when you're there. It's so loose and natural and happy. It's an amazing experience.
Love it. Well, I want to thank you both. This was great. It's like I feel like we're in like the food chain. Like Gene, you're over here, and it's like, wow, Ira, and I'm looking at both of you guys like, wow. Now I want to go document something. I got to go to Cuba. This
You got to
was,
go.
Let's
I
go.
know. Let's go.
Go.
And Gene, we got to get you out to New York. We got to get her to a game, Ira.
Oh, I'm in. I'll
Got to be a
go.
Yankees game.
Jean's been to my bar. I've been to her bar in New
Yes.
York.
Yes. I'd like to go back to your bar. Let's do it.
Yes. So would Stephanie, and Derek's been there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
your
spot.
bar has a lot of character. It's a cool one.
Yeah. I was thinking I could do this event from the bar. It'd be really nice. It's got good background. I just asked everyone to quiet down. But at 3 in the afternoon, it's pretty quiet.
We're good. It might set a nice ambiance for next time. And we'll be seeing Gene. We'll be watching your film between while the Yankees are in the World Series this year.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, exactly.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed. But no, honestly, this was great. I mean, for me to be able to get to sit here and talk baseball and photography with 2 of the greats who just happen to be huge baseball fans as well, it's dream come true. So I want to thank both of you guys, of course, Sony for facilitating this and making this happen. And next time we all catch up, it's either got to be at one of you guys' bars or it's got to be at the stadium.
Or a stadium. Yep. We'll figure it
it.
out. Well, I'll see Gene in about a week, I guess. Huh?
We'll make a plan.
We'll make a plan.
A plan. Yeah.
There you go. Well,
We'll call you
huge
from
thank
there,
you.
Derek. Okay.
Yes, call me. Send me a picture. I want to make sure that Gene gets that signed copy.
All right.
I'm gonna bring mine. Yeah, for sure.
There we go. Gene, Ira, huge thank you to you both. Of course, Sony, huge thank you to you for hosting. And to all of our viewers out there, we hope you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as I know all 3 of us did. So huge thank you. Another edition of the B&H Event Space now in the books. Catch y'all next time.